God walked into a graveyard one day. And when he left, it had become an army. There are moments in life when it feels like everything is over, when hope disappears and the future seems impossible. The people of Israel experienced one of those moments. Their cities were destroyed, their temple reduced to rubble, and many were taken far from their homeland, exiled to a foreign land. Everywhere they looked, they saw a ruin. Everywhere they turned, they felt forgotten. They whispered to one another, "Our hope is gone. We are cut off. Our story is finished." But God never abandons his people. Among those in exile was a prophet named Ezekiel. He had witnessed the suffering of his people and heard their cries. One day, the Spirit of God carried him to a valley unlike anything he had ever seen. This valley was filled with bones, dry and scattered, stretching as far as the eye could see. They were bleached by the sun, cracked by the wind, lifeless and forgotten. God asked him, "Son of man, can these bones live?" Ezekiel looked at them and knew from a human perspective the answer seemed obvious: they were dead. Yet he trusted God and answered humbly, "O Lord God, you know." Then God commanded him to prophesy to the bones. "Speak to them. Tell them what I say. I will bring you to life. I will cover you with flesh. I will breathe life into you, and you shall live. Then you will know that I am the Lord." Ezekiel obeyed. He lifted his voice and spoke to the bones, declaring God's words. At first, there was only silence, then a faint rattling, then another, and another. The bones began to move. Skulls shifted, ribs connected, spines aligned, legs joined hips, arms joined shoulders. Skeletons assembled across the valley. They had form, but no life, no breath, no heartbeat. God spoke again, "Prophesy to the breath. Call the breath from the four winds. Tell it to breathe on these bodies, that they may live." Ezekiel obeyed. He cried out to the winds, and suddenly the breath of God entered the bodies. Lungs filled with air, hearts began to beat, eyes opened, hands moved, feet pushed against the ground. One by one, the people rose. Soon, the valley was no longer filled with dry bones. It was filled with living, breathing, restored people. God explained to Ezekiel that these bones represented the whole house of Israel. Though they had felt cut off, hopeless, and forgotten, he would restore them, bring them back to their land, and put his Spirit in them so they would live. Ezekiel stood in that valley and watched an army rise from nothing, from silence, from death, from dust. What had seemed impossible had become undeniable. This vision was never just about bones. It was about hope. Restoration. God's power to breathe life into what seemed lifeless, to bring light where there was only darkness, to restore what was broken and lost. Even when you feel empty, forgotten, or stuck in despair, God can restore you. He can bring hope to the hopeless, life to the dead, and renewal to the broken. Even in the driest, loneliest valleys of your life, He can raise you up. Because when God speaks, even dry bones can live again.